My name is Katarina. I want to do a quick video today talking a little bit about what it's like to film as an extra for one of the major TV shows, and I had this experience yesterday. I got invited to film as an extra for Mr. Mercedes, which is an audience network show, and it's currently filming in Charleston, South Carolina. This is not the first time I've done it, so I just wanted to share my experience and what I learned and talk to you a little bit about the 5 points that I've learned about. Perhaps they can be helpful for someone who's interested in being an extra, interested in kind of filming, interested in trying out this, filming for some productions, whether it's big or small, whether you are getting a role or coming in as an extra. And this is just purely my experience, but I really wanted to share it, so here goes. So number 1, I would say prepare to be early, on time, looking professional, and not necessarily being in any specific character unless you're told to do that in the very beginning. I've noticed that a lot of people that I've worked with so far, other extras, other kind of newbie actors, start out coming in very dressed with a lot of makeup in their vision of what they might end up doing. And I think that kind of is detrimental because it prevents whoever you're working with, might be the director, might be the assistants, might be some other crew that's responsible for that. It prevents them from making you look and feel and come off as maximally as they can in terms of the character that you're going to be playing. So being that kind of dressed and made up and doing everything yourself in advance without really knowing what it is you're going in to do kind of can be not very helpful in terms of getting you into the character. I've seen some people being told to turn around, wash the makeup off, or ask if they have any other clothes with them. So I would say come dressed as simply as possible. I usually go for black leggings, black tank top. I don't come in wearing any makeup, so right now I'm not wearing any. Something very simple. Make sure that you bring as many outfits as possible. If you know kind of the guidelines for what they're looking for, bring as much as you possibly can. Why? Because it's going to fit you better than what they're going to have in their costume collection. And you know your clothes, you know your shape, and you know what looks good on you. And so choose things that look good on you versus just kind of coming in without any clothes and then them having to find something in their wardrobe. Mind you, they might have something that's your size, but it doesn't really sit that well, or it doesn't look the way that you would want it to look. And they're going to just have to go with it in most cases, just so that the production can go on, or they'll replace you with someone else, which also happens sometimes. So the second tip that I have is it's a job. I think that's something that might be easily forgotten, even though it's quite obvious, but acting as an extra or as any other bigger or major role is work. It might be funner than other jobs that you've had. It might be more of your passion. It might be more artistic and creative, all these things for sure, but it's still a job. It's still work. It's very valued in any work environment if you're a professional, if you are on time, if you know how to follow instructions and be helpful and do the best that you can. I think that can be kind of missed, and some people come in expecting to kind of be entertained. And I've seen a lot of disappointment in that in fellow actors and fellow extras that I worked with. You really have to conduct yourself as if it was a job, as if it was a job that you didn't want to screw up. Some people really are kind of shaken and taken aback by realizing that this work can be hard and it can involve a lot of not necessarily the funnest things, like standing around waiting and having to be really patient and just being there, and sometimes not being in the scene, and sometimes not being called on until who knows when. And it takes a lot of energy. It's not necessarily the hardest physically intensive job, but it can be, because if you're standing for hours and hours and hours and you get maybe one break in a few hours and some water in between, but you got to keep standing and you got to keep being part of the scene, it can be not what you were looking for. It can kind of just surprise you, so you got to be prepared for that, because it is work. So the third thing I would say is keep the acting to the screen, because I've seen a lot of people be in character off set, and it's I mean, it's kind of hard to deal with sometimes. People become very dramatic. They become very emotional, but like not emotional because they're genuinely something going wrong, but because they're kind of like, oh, I'm an actor now, so I'm gonna, express myself in this over dramatic way, and it can be very extremely irritating to others and to the whole crew. I mean, these people that you see that are running the cameras and making sure everyone's on time in the right place and making sure all the equipment works correctly and walking around fixing people's hair and makeup and outfits and doing all these other things and just kind of doing whatever work that needs to be done. They put a lot of effort into this, and this is their everyday, day-to-day job. And you don't really see the major actors in most cases doing any of this and kind of being extra. I would highly not recommend that. If you want to be a drama queen, if you want to, act like the world suddenly starts revolving around you, you wouldn't do that in your normal environment. You wouldn't do that at your regular job or business. So don't do that on set. It's not pleasant, and it's probably the only thing it's probably going to get you is not being called back if there's ever an opportunity to do this again. So that's something that I've seen. That's the only thing that I've seen that kind of surprises me, because I've seen adults do this, and it's just kind of baffling. It's just not good. It's not good. Thing number 4, being enthusiastic throughout the entire thing. Because another observation that I've made is coming into something like this, little extra acting gig for a show that's kind of well known and popular. You're like, ooh, I get to be part of this cool show. Maybe it's your first time, maybe you've done this before, but you're like, yes, this is so exciting. And then you realize that your role might not be that big. Like, you should probably be expecting that coming in as an extra, but maybe you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be like center screen at some point and be like the center of attention for like my 5 seconds of fame. But sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes you're kind of like just literally blending in and just like a shadow figure in the background. And you got to be okay with that, because that's essentially what being an extra is. And it is being part of the production. That should be exciting if you're applying to that kind of a thing, because it's exciting for some people. So if it's exciting for you, do it. But if it's not, then just don't waste anyone's time, because I've seen also a lot of people just kind of get really discouraged and really like bored, and they're like, oh my god, I guess I'm just going to be like one of the crowd and not really seen. So they just kind of lose their interest, and they're like rolling their eyes, sighing like, I can't believe it takes so long. I got to pick up my kids. I got to go home. I didn't know it was going to last that long. If this is not something that you can comfortably do, then don't sign up. It's very easy, very simple. But I think it happens in most cases. I've seen these same people be very excited in the beginning. So I think it's that change of like that realization, oh, I'm not really going to be like center stage. You just got to expect that. And if just being part of something like that is not exciting enough, again, don't do it. Chances are it's not, you're being called as an extra, not as the lead necessarily. But if you are interested in acting, doing enough of the gigs like this might land you an opportunity you didn't expect, or might just be fun to do, which I think is the best motivator for this type of gig. Because if it's not exciting, again, it might just not be worth it for you. And if you lose courage, this is the part, if you lose courage, that will show on screen. So if you do by some chance get, to be seen in that scene of the show or the movie, and you're, just kind of being there like, oh my god, how long is this thing going to last? It sucks, and it sucks seeing that and being like, wow, I wish I did a little better. Or you're going to be considered for being, maybe in the shot, and maybe whoever's editing it is going to change their mind because you don't look like you're into it and you don't look like you're playing your character. That's definitely something to consider. And finally, the 5th part, I think I was going to do 5. So the 5th part, I would say, is make sure that you're well rested, make sure that you're prepared, make sure that you have all of your needs taken care of, make sure that you have everything with you. Even if you're going to have to leave stuff in the car, at least you have it in the car. In most cases, if it's more than just like 1 or 2 hours, you're going to have breaks. And so if you want to bring water, if you want to bring some extra makeup, if you want to bring some face wipes, if you want to bring anything that you need to bring, that you need to kind of take care of yourself or fix something. Even having band-aids, because you might wear some shoes that, you know, are not yours, or some uncomfortable shoes that you don't wear that often. Make sure you bring extra pair of shoes, like flats or sneakers, something. You got to make sure that you have all the stuff that you can kind of remedy yourself or patch yourself up, or, you know, correct whatever's going on and come back refreshed. So of course they usually have like snacks, water on set, and especially if it's a big production, if it's a kind of like bigger, well-known production, then they certainly most likely do. But it's important to remember that you are still solely responsible for yourself because you're an adult. You got to make sure that, you know, you're prepared to address your own needs, because you don't know how tired you're gonna get. And it's important that you come well rested. It might not sound like a lot of work, but if you're doing this for the first time, you might be very surprised. And after standing for hours and, you know, kind of being there for hours and doing things for hours and hours and hours, even though it might be the same thing over and over again, you get pretty exhausted. And again, if you're just not used to it, you might surprise yourself. So it's better to be overly prepared than be stuck on set until, you know, late at night and not have what you need in your accessibility, in your car or in your bag or whatever you bring with you. I guess I'm gonna do a bonus suggestion. If you're kind of maybe came across this video while considering applying for like an extra role, or maybe you got an invitation to be an extra in the local production or something bigger and you're just like not sure and you don't know what to expect. If you're interested in acting, and if you're not sure because you're like, oh, but I'm not pretty enough, or oh, you know, I'm too fat, or oh, you know, I'm too short or too tall or too this or too that, forget it. Whereas before, what was valued was kind of being this unapproachable, almost superhuman being that looked perfect and was visually perfect, and that's what was all the buzz in the movies. It's changing, and for the shows, for big films, for just generally film industry, I think what's valued nowadays is authenticity, because it makes the production believable and it makes people enjoy and trust it more. Production companies are always looking for all types of people visually, all shapes, all forms, all backgrounds, all ethnicities, everything. You know, you got to put yourself out there, and if you're thinking you're not enough or not good enough, stop it. And if you're interested in acting, you want to be part of a production, just go for it. Stop thinking all these negative thoughts and just go for it, because you're gonna love it. If you want it, if you've always kind of been curious about it, or like thinking, well, you know, maybe one day I can be an actor or try it, but then you're like, no, with the way I look, I'll never, you know, be able to, or no, that's not for me, that's just dreaming too big. Stop it. And if you have an opportunity, go for it and apply. Put yourself out there and apply for some more. If you don't get in the first time, keep applying, because you might really, really enjoy it. And even though you might not blow up and become the big actor, or you never know, but trying is better than not, in my opinion. So I think you should go for it. And if you're watching it right now wondering, well, maybe that's your sign. So if you need a sign, this is your sign. Go for it. You're gonna love it. If you're thinking about it that much, and if you care that much, something tells me it's really for you, because that means you care. So try it out. And good luck and enjoy acting, y'all. I certainly really have. I hope to see you here again soon. All right, bye.